comme tu sais pourquoi il pleut des douilles.
Je me suis barré, puis être l'acheter comme le port salut. Le futur de ton rap français, il est devant toi, il a fait à une. J'ai 23 piges, roule au grand gamos, sur la route du 13 avec poteau à l'os. Les roches droches, qui ton côté gauche, frappe dedans comme Roberto Carlos. Ouais, tu sais pourquoi on veut des sous, alors fils de pute.
Bomb Squad.
Arrêtez le rap avant de ton fils la mort, on s'achète.
Mesdames et messieurs, je suis de retour, Pascal, for Pep Talk UK TV. Bonjour à tous les Français à l'étranger. Good afternoon to everybody all around the world. It's Pascal. Moments ago, Barclays Center, we saw a very good heavyweight fight between Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz. The fight was started quite cagey, you know, both fighters were certainly feeling each other. Wilder, I felt, was a bit more cagey, you know, he was backing up most of the fight. And the action was being forced by Luis Ortiz. He was forcing the action, you know, working to the body and trying to basically use his right hand, you know. But after the 5th round, you know, Ortiz tasted the power of Wilder. He went down, and the 7th round was an absolute beauty of a round. Ortiz catches Wilder with a hook. Wilder starts to do the Macarena. You know, he tastes the power, gets him against the ropes. You know, Ortiz is working the body. He's trying to fight that, you know, that combination to knock him out. But unfortunately, Deontay Wilder shows the heart of a trooper, man. The guy was just there taking the punches, you know, and it was so exciting because we've never really seen Deontay Wilder in that kind of position. The problem, I felt that Ortiz didn't have that knockout power, you know, he didn't have that finishing touch, you know, and unfortunately for him, that part of the round was quite decisive because, you know, round 8 and round 9, you know, Ortiz was completely spent. You know, he unleashed whatever he could on the 7th round. And unfortunately, on the 10th round, the fight was over. Deontay Wilder clipped him, you know, and caught him several times. You know, and the windmill Wilder came along, and unfortunately for Ortiz, the fight was stopped. I felt that there was a bit of pushing. You know, Wilder, in my opinion, should have had the point deducted because, you know, he did push Ortiz into the ropes, and, you know, and sometimes we've seen that that can cause injuries to some boxers, and also it can destabilize them. You know, if those of you who know boxing, who've sparred, you know, even if you go on the floor, somebody pushes you on the floor after 7, 8 rounds, you can be quite tired, and you need just as much time to get back on your feet because, you know, at the end of the day, this is not MMA. It's a sport that you stand on your feet most of the time, and that notion of going up and going down and going up, just that, you know, during a fight of this magnitude can take a lot of energy. But look, you know, Deontay Wilder proved it out of the round once again, you know, 39 knockouts, you know, the guy has to be respected. You know, he doesn't have the best boxing skills in the planet, but certainly his mindset is that of a champion, and, you know, he prevailed. You know, as far as I'm concerned, he prevailed, and, you know, he's now certainly on his route to unify the division. So, you know, for AJ and Parker, I mean, to me, it's quite interesting because Wilder has got an unorthodox style. And because his style is unorthodox, how do you prepare for somebody that's unorthodox? You know, and it's a bit how, you know, Vladimir Klitschko lost to Tyson Fury because of his awkwardness, because of his unorthodox style, which created a bit of, you know, ambiguity in the approach to the fight from Klitschko. So I think that AJ or Parker, whichever one wins that fight, will have some interesting time in understanding and calculating, you know, their approach to the fight and how to gauge the opponent, because Wilder, to me, doesn't seem to be the most gifted and most skillful, but he's certainly an athlete and he has the heart of a warrior, and he certainly has that great equalizer, and he has the 10 commandments, you know, in his right hand, where he can just bring it down any time. So, you know, look, congratulations to the Bomb Squad. Luis Ortiz, you know, I've been following you for a very long time. I believe that fight was 2-3 years too late for you. You know, you showed your age, and I think as a result of that, you know, the youth of Wilder really overcame. But, you know, you can still keep your head up. And I hope that we can see you in a ring one more time. And, you know, and I hope that that payday also allowed you to look after your family. Now, in terms of the Arsenal game, I just saw some of the highlights, you know, and it's just looking very bad for Arsene Wenger. It's looking very bad. It's very bad. Very, very bad. I mean, come on, man. There's not been, you know, the away record seems to be getting worse and worse. And, you know, and this was a performance that the fans expected Arsenal to bounce back, you know, following the back-to-back defeat against Manchester City, following the defeat against, you know, that Norwegian team, you know. It's just too much, you know. And before that, obviously, the Spurs game. And it's just, we don't seem to be seeing an Arsenal team that is putting arms together. You know, we know that February is always a bit of a difficult time for them. But this is the type, this was the game today that they were supposed to bounce back from all these calamitous decisions, all these calamitous results and performances that we've seen from the Arsenal. And it's not working out. And, you know, we're just going to have to point the finger at the manager, because at the end of the day, yes, the players are professionals. Yes, the players know what they're supposed to do, but there needs to be some form of push, some form of effervescence that comes from the manager. The manager has to infuse enough confidence in the player, enough belief for them to go and perform. And we've not seen an Arsenal team that's been performing. It's just not looking good. And I'm sorry to say, you know, Arsene Wenger, c'est mon copain, c'est mon pote. You know, we come from the same place, you know, and I always back my French family to the very end, you know, tous les Français à l'étranger, on est là. Mais, you know, this is becoming a bit too much now. We have to start demanding questions, and it's about the performance of the individual. And if Arsene Wenger is not performing, you know, I think it's time for the Arsenal board and the Arsenal fans also to look collectively and to look at, you know, an exit strategy, because as far as Wenger is concerned, he's not bringing the goods anymore. I think that the pressures of the league are getting too much. I think that the game itself has evolved a lot more beyond Arsene Wenger's understanding of it. And there's not enough plan B, and I don't think that he's capturing the imaginations of the young players anymore. You know, we still will always have a lot of admiration for Arsene Wenger, for what he's done, you know, for football. His contribution to football has been exemplary, you know, and particularly for a French person abroad, you know, he's done so well, you know, so he can be very proud of that. But you know, I think it's time for him to start looking at himself and looking at his performances and decide whether or not he can continue to do that. Obviously, he will stay in a job. He will carry on. The problem is, you know, he could carry on at the detriment of his career, because his career is also on the line. If he wants to go and coach on other teams, certainly I don't believe that he has the pedigree to coach at the highest level anymore. He will have to coach two third tier teams, perhaps across Europe somewhere, or completely hang up the boots, or hang up the cardboard in this case, because he's the manager, and you know, and decide to call it a day. You know, there's plenty of things to do. He can go to la Côte d'Azur, you know, he can chill out, you know, relax. He's got plenty of money in the bank also, but I'm afraid that his legacy is becoming tarnished, and it's time for Arsenal and the fans to start looking at an exit strategy and bring in some, you know, a manager that can take Arsenal to where they belong. It's about hope, you know, and at the end of the day, I believe that, you know, this is the worst that Arsenal will experience, and once they get over that difficult period, they should be able to bounce back. They're a great club with great spirit, you know, and we expect them to come back from it. But anyway, don't forget to comment below, you know, don't forget to subscribe to Pep Talk UK, you know, follow us all, Frankie B, Shaz Mac, Pascal, Pep Talk Boys, et on est là. Au revoir. Bouh!